this trinomial requires a little bit more work when we need to factor it, because we have a coefficient of 3 here. So if we recall, if we have a coefficient of 1, we can just use the x puzzle. But because we have this 3 here, we need to use either an x box, and I'll show you how to do that in a bit, or we can use a method called bottoms up. So let me start with the x box. We begin this the same way we would do the x puzzle. We're looking for two numbers that add up to 11, but they multiply to negative 12. So we multiply the coefficient for the first term times the constant. Now recall with the other ones, when we have a 1, we don't have to do that because any number times 1 is going to give us the same number. But because we have a coefficient here, we need to multiply the constant times the coefficient for the first term to get this number. So now we look at all the factors of negative 12. So we go 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. So we're looking for one that's going to possibly give us this 11 here. Okay, so we notice that we have a negative 12, so that means if we give this a negative 1 and a positive 12, we'll get that positive 11 at the top, and the negative 1 times 12 would give us this negative 12 that we need here. So negative 1 times 12. Okay, then what we have to do is we have to put it in a box. So if you put it in the box, we take the first term from the box, 3r squared, and then we take this number and the variable, so negative 1r, and then we put 12r, so again this number and the variable for the middle term, and then the minus 4, so the last term goes in the last box. And now we're going to be looking for numbers or something that they have in common here. So the greatest common factor for 3r squared minus 1r would be an r. So then r times 3r will give us this 3r squared. So what do we need to multiply r by to get to 3r squared? That's how we get this top number here. And then r times a negative 1 would give us a negative 1r. 3r times 4 will give us this 12r, and then 4 times a negative 1 is a negative 4. So this kind of helps us check our work to make sure that we have it right. So the answer is going to be r plus 4, because this is a positive 4, times 3r minus 1. Or we can switch this. Remember, the commutative property of multiplication allows us to switch these two factors without affecting the answer. The other method, the bottoms up method, you start with the same negative 1 and the 12. So we put it in parentheses here. So we use the same variable, r and r, and then we're going to put a minus 1 and a plus 12. So whatever number you get here, you put there. Whatever number you get here, you put here. Then you're going to look at this 3 here, the coefficient for the first term. And we're going to take and we're going to divide by that number. Our next step is to simplify the fraction. If you notice on this one, we can't simplify the fraction. There's no common factor for 1 and 3. But 12 and 3 have a common factor of 3. So if I take 12 divided by 3, this whole thing becomes a 4. Okay? Then, because we can't have this 3 over here, we move it up to the top. So we end up with a 3r minus 1 and the r plus 4. So you end up with the same answer as if you're doing this. And so these are just two different techniques for solving a polynomial, or a trinomial in this case, that has a coefficient of any number other than 1.